Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Leches Sports Podcast. I'm Gil Matos. As always, here joined by my colleagues, my colegas, Uri Berenguer and Omar Cabrera. And as always, Tres Leches brought to you in conjunction with El Mundo Boston. How are you guys doing today, man? What's up, Uri? How you doing? You done arguing?
Dímelo, Gil. Oh, dude, I'm ready. I'm ready for another exciting week of arguments with you, of course. But you know what? I'm not one of those people who likes to say "I told you so." I'm really not. I love to say "I told you so." So I'm doing pretty damn good right now, seeing as all four teams that I picked to make it as the best four teams in the NFL are still in it. My teams are still in it. How about you guys? I mean, and we have the tape proof, by the way. How about you guys? Hey, Gil, where are the Chargers? Hey, Omar, you picked the Patriots to win the Super Bowl, didn't you? Where are they?
Where are they? Chargers. Nobody picked the Chargers. I don't know what this guy's talking about. Revisionist history. And Omar, what's up, man?
Where are the Saints?
Just follow along, man. Make them feel good, man. What's up, guys? And always happy to be here every week. I can't believe January is almost done, but you know what? Makes it exciting every week when we meet up and we talk some fun stuff like Yuri's talking right now.
Yeah. You want to know if I'm picking either the Saints or the Buccaneers. And only because of my man of respect, I'm sticking with the Buccaneers, damn it. I'm sticking with the Bucs. Buccaneers, I know they have not had the season that everyone thought they would have. They're only 8-5, but I will say this. They have Tom Brady. And Tom Brady, that name really weighs a lot. You guys know as well as I do. If he gets into the playoffs, it's a whole different ballgame. All you need to do is get into the playoffs, and it's a whole different ballgame. So I'm going to stick with the Bucs, damn it.
Omar, let's stick a fork in this because we know that this argument's been going on since the Saints blew the doors off of them twice. He's still sticking with the Bucs. All right, he's definitely loyal.
Give him credit.
Yeah, we give him credit
for loyalty.
What do you got?
Buffalo is one of the teams I can see going far into the playoffs. But the other team is Tennessee.
But I think the cream of the crop, and we mentioned it earlier, in the NFC are the Saints and the Rams. Sorry, Green Bay. Sorry, Tampa Bay. I don't think you guys have. I think the Rams have a very solid defense. I think the Rams can pass or run all over you. I'm going to pick the Rams coming out of the NFC. That's right. And as always, Tres Leches Sports Podcast bringing you three different topics in the world of sports. And, of course, we're going to start off with the NFL, right? What else are we going to start off with? We're just 2 games, guys, from knowing who will battle it out in Super Bowl 55. And as always, the conference championships aren't short of storylines. The GOAT Tom Brady is going to take on Aaron Rodgers in the Pack in the NFC game. And in the AFC game, it's a little bit of drama brewing there as Chiefs QB Patrick Mahomes remains in concussion protocol ahead of the matchup against the Buffalo Bills. Uri, can the Chiefs beat the Bills if their all-world quarterback can't suit up on Sunday?
To simplify it, yeah, they can. Yeah, they can. The Chiefs can beat the Bills if Patrick Mahomes doesn't suit up, but it won't be an easy win. And I'll tell you why. I mean, obviously, with Patrick Mahomes, I think that the Bills don't stand a chance. They don't stand a chance. Now, we do know that at least as of Wednesday, Patrick Mahomes was back on the practice field. So that's good news. And guys, let's be honest. Let's be honest. Knowing the football culture, the NFL culture, I don't want to say anything that'll get anyone in trouble, but let's be real.
You can say it, but the team doesn't have the call on it though. That's the interesting part.
Well, they have an outside consultant, doctor or physician, whatever specialist. Yeah, sure, you can believe that if you want. Sure. But listen, I never doubted that Patrick Mahomes would be back. Maybe I'm wrong, but listen, I think he's going to be back. But the question is, can they beat the Bills without him? It's not going to be easy. Listen, the Bills are no pushovers to think. We've been talking about them all year. Josh Allen has proven to be that he is ready to be one of the top dogs in the NFL. He's ready to be considered or be mentioned among those elite quarterbacks in the NFL. But guys, let's just take a step back and think about the football season that the Chiefs had, and not just about Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes had some pretty rough games. I mean, just remember the Dolphins game. The thing is, the Chiefs spent most of the season playing boring football. Kansas City Chiefs fans spent most of the season watching boring football games, a la New England Patriots. Guys, we lived through that. We lived through that for quite a while with the Patriots. There were a lot of seasons that were like, I'll watch the first half, but we knew the Patriots were going to win. You look at the schedule and you know which teams you're going to beat. That's what the Chiefs did this year because they're just too good. That offense is unstoppable. Their defense is just good enough they're right in the middle of the pack, so they're just good enough to compete with anyone. But the offense is unstoppable with Patrick Mahomes. Without Patrick Mahomes, you still have Travis Kelce, you still have Tyreek Hill, you still have Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who's also going to be back for this game. You have perhaps the fastest offense ever assembled in the NFL. They're very well coached with Andy Reid. I think that this is just an ultimate force that's not going to be stopped, and it's not going to be stopped by Josh Allen and the Bills. That's just my take.
Omar, in your opinion, do you think if Patrick Mahomes can't suit up and Chad Henne has to step in there, can he lead the Chiefs to victory? Can he? Yes. Will he lead the Chiefs to victory?
Plain and simple, no, I don't think so. I don't think they have a chance without Mahomes, and I'll tell you why. Chad Henne's definitely, a 13-year veteran. He has a lot of experience, more than 13,000 yards thrown, But he's thrown a lot of touchdowns, 60 in total. But he's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns, 63 to be exact. And we saw some of that. Yeah, they won the other day against. They ended up winning against the Browns. But we saw some of those throws he made, some ducks he made, some thrown ducks that he made. That he got lucky he didn't get intercepted. And playing against a great defense in Buffalo is not going to be easy if they don't have Mahomes. And I'll tell you why. Because look, the Buffalo Bills, they beat two really good teams in the Colts and then in the Ravens. Two teams that had their quarterbacks, the starting quarterbacks who played great all year, who had all their, snaps, all their practices.
No.
And if they play against Chad Henne, who hasn't had that much chance to practice, who hasn't had that many reps, there's no chance in hell that they can beat the Buffalo Bills without the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I don't think Chad Henne can do it, to be honest with you. If it's him stepping in there, that offense is amazing. That offense, they still have more skilled position players than anybody. But I think that's the most important position in sports, arguably, right? So if you have a guy who's been a career backup in there, at 37, 38 years old, under the bright lights there, and trying to lead a team in the Super Bowl, it's a lot to ask. It's a big ask of Chad Henne. And look, the Bills are not a pushover. You mentioned Josh Allen's going to be mentioned. No, Josh Allen's there already. He's already in the upper echelon of quarterbacks. That kid took the leap this year, and he is very, very impressive. The Bills are playing fantastic football. They've looked really unbeatable the past few weeks. That's, without Mahomes, it's a really, really tough ask, I think.
And I agree with that. I agree with that. Without Mahomes is a very tough ask. Absolutely. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the Buffalo Bills defense has looked elite, because it hasn't. I mean, listen, guys, they just beat the Ravens. Yeah, they beat the Ravens, but come on, the Ravens gave them that game. What the hell are they doing trying to throw the ball? Why are they trying to throw the ball? Why? But they had no reason to throw the ball. The week before that, Lamar Jackson rushed for 150 yards against Tennessee, and that's how they beat the crap out of Tennessee. Why are they going to go into a game with the Buffalo Bills and try to throw the ball? That's all they did. They tried to throw the ball. Lamar Jackson didn't run. He didn't run. So they gave them the game. Don't tell me that it was because the Buffalo Bills defense shut them down. No, the Ravens went in there with an errant game plan.
So you think Lamar Jackson?
They still had the starting quarterbacks though, and they still, they play good.
Their offense did it. Yeah, their offense did it. The defense, I'm not going to give them much credit, because, like I said, Lamar Jackson gave it to him.
So Lamar Jackson gave him the game, but Drew Brees did not give the Buccaneers.
I was just thinking the same thing.
You want to go there? Hey, where are the difference?
What's the difference?
I didn't say they didn't.
Anyways,
I didn't say they didn't. I didn't say they didn't. Listen, I never said they didn't.
I'm going to get back to this, the topic at hand. So we're going to reel it back in. But
yeah, you don't want to go there.
Guys, the Patrick Mahomes technically did practice on Wednesday, but it was just a walkthrough. It wasn't really a full contact practice. So the concussion protocol is very extensive. And as we were talking about earlier, not only is it the team doctor who needs to do it, but an independent neurological consultant, what they call an INC in the collective bargaining agreement, needs to also approve him to play. So look, and the reality of this whole situation, guys, I mean, look, Mahomes is going to have to be walking like this with his eyes crossed, right, in order not to play. I think they're going to put him in there regardless. I think the NFL definitely wants him in there. The Chiefs want him in there. Everybody wants him in there. So I think he definitely does play. But I think the biggest hindrance, guys, is not going to be the aftermath of the concussion from Sunday. I think it's going to be the toe issue he has, because that is going to hinder him from extending plays, running, and getting the 6-7 yards he's used to getting, extending the play a little longer while his receivers get downfield. That's going to stop him from doing that a little bit. So I think that toe problem is the one that we really need to keep an eye on.
And to give you guys,
I really hope. You know what? I'm sorry. I was just gonna say that. I really hope that if he's ready, that I would love to see him play. But I hope they don't force him, because we all know this. Especially issues with concussions are really risky and dangerous. So I really hope that he's ready and they don't try to push him just because they feel like they need him. But like you said, he needs to pass all this protocol. So hopefully they do the right thing. And if he's able to play, I would love to see him. And if not, good luck, Channy.
Well, we all know the quarterbacks in the NFL don't play if they're not 100% healthy. We know that, right? I mean, just ask the Saints. So the reality is this, guys. I will give you this. I agree that I'll take a step back and I'll agree that Josh Allen should be mentioned, not will be, but should be mentioned amongst the elite. I think this year he did enough to prove that he is. And the thing that I've seen in the Bills, and we talked about this before, they're playing with this chip on their shoulder. I think Josh Allen is playing with a chip on his shoulder. I think Stephon Diggs is playing with the biggest chip on his shoulder because you know what? Stephon Diggs has arguably been the best wide receiver in the NFL this year after actually joining with Josh Allen, joining up with Josh Allen, and nobody really talks about him. All the talks, you hear so much talks about what Aaron Rodgers excuse me, I'm drawing a blank right now. His name, the wide receiver,
Davante Adams, yeah,
and Davante Adams. Thank you. You hear so much about Davante Adams and Rodgers. You hear everything about Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. You don't hear about Stephon Diggs. And I think that chip on their shoulder is what a lot of times makes the difference. That's what's made the difference throughout the entire career of Tom Brady. That's what made the difference throughout the entire career of Michael Jordan. That's what made the difference in the New England Patriots for a long time. I think that may be a big hurdle that the Kansas City Chiefs have to get over. But I still maintain, I think that the Chiefs are just still the better team no matter what.
Yeah, we're going to do picks?
I was just thinking about that, because Mr. Uri Damas over here already says that he has it all picked. So
I mean, he's perfect so far, right? So why don't we start with
I
him?
am. So far I am. Well, so far I am. I mean, you can watch the episodes if you want.
Why don't we start with you?
Right, Mr. Kerning?
Start with you. What do you got?
What do you know? I told you. I told you a few weeks ago, there's no stopping the Chiefs. There's no stopping the Chiefs, at least not in the AFC Championship. There's no stopping the Chiefs. And in the NFC, as much as I enjoyed watching the Bucs be the better team, prove to be the better team over the Saints, I just can't see them do that to Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay, especially not in Lambeau. I think that Aaron Rodgers, that Green Bay offense is just as unstoppable as the Chiefs offense, and I just don't think that the GOAT is going to get it done. Not this weekend.
Going against the GOAT. How well? I'm gonna go. You know what? F it. I'm gonna go Bills and Bucks. That's what I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with the Bills and the Bucks. It's not gonna surprise me if it goes the other way, but I'll go Bills and Bucks. I think the GOAT gets it done, and I think the Bills are playing really, really good football, and they're playing really, really inspired football right now. So I think they can pull the upset off.
Oh wow, man, damn! I actually got to agree with Yuri in this one, man. I think the MVP of this season, Aaron Rodgers, is going to win this game against the Bucks, and it's going to be against. I know you guys are going to hate on this because I'm going to say if Pat Mahomes plays, then Kansas City is winning. But if he doesn't play, then I got to pick the Buffalo Bills. So is that fair?
So make a pick.
Who's your pick then?
Kansas City. Kansas City, Green Bay. Sorry.
If my aunt had a penis, she'd be my uncle.
My bad. With that, let's switch gears. Hey guys, after a 7-game absence, Kyrie Irving returned to the Brooklyn Nets earlier this week, saying the right things, of course, adding that with everything going on in the world, he had to take a pause. Gil, do you think this is something the Nets can forget about and just move on? Can the damage be repaired? What do the Nets do from this point on?
What choices do they have, Omar? Like they don't have a choice but to make it work, right? Because as talented as Kyrie is, he is completely untradeable right now. If you're a general manager from any other team, are you going to risk trading for a guy that can just tomorrow sit out for the next 7 weeks? You're not going to do that, right? So who is going to trade for this guy? So they have to make it work. Now, the Nets have this to deal with, which I think is even more important. Now, in terms of usage percentage, guys, this is a crazy stat, right? James Harden, Kevin Durant, and Kyrie Irving rank 8th, 12th, and 16th all time in career usage percentage. That's not enough ball to go around in a regular game there for those three guys. So there are some sacrifices that are going to be made. They're going to have to make it work somehow. So it's going to be interesting to see. But even if they do make it work, listen, they have the two best scorers in the NBA on the same team, and they have the amazing playmaker when he's playing and when he's healthy, and Kyrie. I do still think they're too small. I do think they lack the defense, so they're going to have to make some moves, and they do have some room to do that. But yeah, they absolutely have to make it work with Kyrie somehow. They don't have a choice.
I agree with you. It's not enough balls going around, but that's remains to be seen. Uri, in the first couple of games together, James Harden and Kevin Durant scored more than 30 points, average about 30 points each. How do they add Kyrie to this equation now to make it work?
Well, you know what? It's funny that we talk about this today when actually today is actually the day that the big three actually make their NBA debut. And if I'm not mistaken, I actually was watching the game and they went to double overtime, lost to the Cavaliers like 137 to 125, if I'm not mistaken. But the point is that they kind of didn't make it work. They looked pretty good for the part of the game that I watched. They looked good before the game. They asked Steve Nash kind of similar question you've just asked Gil, and Steve Nash pretty much said more or less what Gil, what you would think he would say if you listen to Gil first. He pretty much said, you know what, we're happy to have him back. We're gonna find a way to make sure all these guys get involved. They get the ball as much as they want, etc. Said all the right things, everything you expect to be said. And yes, it has to work. There's no option. It has to work. And you know what, guys? The fact of the matter is that more often than not, it does work. At least for one season, it does work. You can have a problematic player on your team for one season, but when he's that talented, those talented players, this in any sport, they get away with stuff. They still, I mean, they get coddled. I hate to say that, but that's just the reality. If you're that good and you can back it up, you get coddled, you get forgiven. It's easy to forgive when you see Kyrie Irving playing basketball. It's easy to forgive when you see him make that amazing jumper. Those mechanics that Kyrie has. It's easy to forgive. Now, yes, they have to distribute the ball. You talk about egos and are these guys going to be able to make those sacrifices? We talked about that last week. It's funny because I heard James Harden was being asked something like that, and they asked about his days with KD in OKC, and what he said was, listen, back in OKC, we were young kids. We were there to get ours, et cetera, et cetera. Now we're older veterans. We know that teams win. We know what we have to do in order to win if we want to win. When you hear James Harden say something like that, yes, this is a veteran. This is a guy. This is a former MVP. I think, to me, anyways, that tells me these guys know what they have to do. Maybe Kyrie doesn't, but from what I hear from James Harden say, he knows what he has to do if he wants to get it done. And so I guess maybe you can call me naive if you want, but I'm going to say, I think that they can make it work. I think they will make it work.
Actually, I agree with pretty much everything you guys are saying, except for one thing you said earlier, Gil, that he's probably untradeable right now. I disagree with that. I'm pretty sure that if they put him on the trading market, which I'm not saying they will, you know what? A player like Kyrie, who's still a great player, we know he's a star, he's won championships. I'm pretty sure there's some teams out there who still want to take a chance with him, knowing everything that, he brings to the table, the headache he brings, the drama and everything. But I'm pretty sure there'll still be other teams willing to at least, listen to some possible trades out there. But I'm not saying that will happen, but I just disagree with that part.
I just don't see who it is. Like he could at any moment just say like, oh, I don't want to go to that city, or I don't like that coach, or I don't like this player. I had a bad dish there one night for dinner. Like there's so many different things that he can do. He's a mercurial player. And if you have to like mortgage the future of your franchise or mortgage the present of your franchise to try to get a guy like that, I wouldn't do it. And also, not to mention, guys, what's the over under in games played this season for him? Like, is he going to get over 55 games this year? I mean, he hasn't played even 70 games in a season, and I don't know how many years. I think it's been like 3 or 4 years. So he's not the most, reliant guy in that sense. But I just think, and everything else that's going on with him, I don't think anybody touches him because of that.
Well, you know what? I think it's
to see what happens.
I think it's a pointless conversation because he's not going anywhere. Simple as that. I mean, the Nets already mortgaged their future. They already gave up so much because they were aggressive because they want to win now. So I think, it's a conversation that doesn't even need to be had because he's not going anywhere. I think the point is that they have to make it work.
Yeah.
And, we'll see. All right, guys, it's no secret that ever since Jose Canseco opened Pandora's box on MLB's steroid scandal, the league has seen its attendance, its ratings, and even its fan base dwindle. The 2019 season, we saw it ended with a cheating scandal that cost 3 managers and a GM their jobs. The league's inability to reach a labor agreement with the players, along with the pandemic, almost cost them the 2020 season. And now, just 3 weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting to spring training, Mets' new GM, Jared Porter, is fired after admitting to have sent lewd pictures to a reporter through text messages.
62.
Enter the Wonder Kid, Theo Epstein. The former Red Sox and Cubs executive was hired by Major League Baseball as a special consultant to the commissioner, Rob Manfred, and charged with the difficult task of figuring out a way to bring more excitement back to the game, even if it means having to ruffle some feathers of baseball's purists. Now, with that, I'll start with our self-appointed resident purist, Omar. Omar, I know as the purist that you say you are, you think everything in baseball is just about perfect and should be kept the way it is. But so it may be a difficult question. I will ask you, though, what do you think about Theo's new role, and what do you consider to be the first thing that he needs to fix?
I know Epstein had a great success, and he was able to break the drought in Chicago and in Boston. Winning the World Series for those two teams doesn't mean that is going to automatically translate into success at the MLB front office, because it's a total different ballgame now. But with that said, I think some of the things that he needs to change, we need to get back. We need to get away from using so much analytics, I should say. And trying to get back some of those back to basics, so we can enjoy the game again. And even he admitted it in some interviews that I heard him saying, that he needs to get back to finding that fun part of the game that we shy away from the last few years once people started talking too much analytics this, analytics that. That's one thing. Another thing he even pointed out, the strikeouts are getting way out of hand. And I completely agree with that. I know some people love that. Some people love watching strikes out. You can call me a purist, but I don't really like that. I like to see, a lot of action during the games, and we don't see that anymore. I feel like the last few years we shied away from that. So that's one of the things I would love to definitely see changing. Can Theo do that? I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure if he can do it at the MLB front office level. Another thing that I would love to do, and see, there you go. I'm a purist, but I would definitely love to see this change. And I know it's not going to happen, but it would be nice. I think MLB is losing a lot of fans because the seasons are too long. Are too freaking long. You more than anybody know that. Having to work 162 games plus playoff games is a long ass season. It would be nice if somehow they were able to cut. I know, I have to do a lot with money, but if they could at least cut it to 132 games, I think it would make a difference. I think more people will get definitely involved in that, and that would be some of the changes that I would love for him to do. But we'll see how much he can really make that happen.
Gil, it's funny to hear Omar say that he would love to see Theo get rid of some of the analytics and and quote Theo on some of those things, when Theo was actually kind of the guy responsible to open up that well, again, Pandora's box of analytics with the Red Sox. He's pretty much the guy who revolutionized baseball with that after Billy Beane. But when we're talking about the differences, the changes that he perhaps needs to make, or I would imagine that Rob Manfred wants him to make, is revitalizing baseball. How do you attract more fans? How do you bring back that energy, that excitement to the game?
Well, I don't think shortening a season is going to do anything. It's not Japan. They can't go down to 130 games. And then also 154. I mean, if you're not watching it now because it's 162, it's not going to make a difference at 154. And then money, like we mentioned. The other thing with analytics is I know that analytics and people hate the launch angle and that it's either home run or a strikeout. I'm one of them that hates it. But the fact is teams aren't going to shy away from something that's pointing to success. So they're not going to get away. So I do have a list of things, though. My number one thing that I would change, right, is get rid of the shift. Get rid of the shift. And I don't mean get rid of it all completely, because I know people are like, oh, well, it's a strategy and everything else. But you know what? Make players on the right side of the infield stay on the right side of the infield, and make them stay in the infield, not putting 6 outfielders out there or whatever, anything like that, or putting somebody in the shallow outfield. Infielders stay in the infield and they stay on their side, right? So make it as easy as that. Okay, yeah, shift around if you want, shift anywhere you want, but I think that's taking away a lot of the balls hit in play. DHs in both leagues. Nobody wants to see the pitchers hit. We've talked about this a lot, unless it's Bartolo Colon. He can hit all he wants. But nobody wants to see pitchers hit, right? So get rid of that. Shorten the time in between pitches again. Look, the games are 3 hours or whatever, and I get it. You know, if you're not watching because it's 3 hours, you're not going to watch it if it's 2 hours, 54 minutes, right? But still, make it a little shorter in that sense as well. I would limit the times they throw to first base. You know, I did get rid of that. Anything that slows the game down, get rid of it. And overall, the biggest thing I would do is go back to investing a lot of money into the inner city and making baseball cool again. Make all your players marketable. Get them out there. Everybody should know their faces. I think Mike Trout could walk down most major American cities. Nobody knows who he is. A complete travesty because he's the best player in baseball. Ronald Acuna Jr., who knows who he is outside of, you know, Latin America and outside of Atlanta? Not many people know who he is. So I say, you know, invest more money into that, make the players more marketable, get it going so that the kids start playing it still in the inner city and, you know, as much as you can, because it is a dying game in the inner city in particular. You know, those of us who, you know, have the luxury of growing up with our parents or uncles or somebody who teaches us the game, we're always going to love it. That's always going to exist. Kids that have parents that are teaching them to do this, that's always going to exist. But what about the kids that don't have that? You know, let's think about that. You know, what about the kids that are coming from single parent households? Maybe mom doesn't know baseball, maybe mom doesn't play baseball, but they need to find a way to reach that and sort of start from the ground up. Also, guys, the ballpark experience is ridiculously expensive. So, you know, there's a lot of things that they can do to make it a little more family friendly, make it a little more kid friendly. You know, it's about the ballpark experience. I think, you know, we all remember the very first time we went to a major league ballpark, right? You that's etched in your mind. And I think that we're taking that away from a lot of families and a lot of families that can't afford this.
Gil, you're hired to work with Theo.
You know what? I got to tell you this. I do like some of the things you said. I don't agree, and I think you and I've had this discussion. I don't agree with the shift thing, the whole no shift thing. That's just not in me. I actually think that the shift, that's an excuse to make professional ball hitters look better. You know what? Learn to hit around the shift. It's my mentality. It's my, you know, you and I are never going to agree on this. But so that's the only one I disagree with. I am on board absolutely with the whole DH thing. I mean, that's ridiculous. The whole DH thing. I mean, actually, that's the first thing. If you ask me, the first thing that needs to get fixed, because here we are 3 weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting, and National League teams still don't know if they're going to play with the DH this year or not. They don't know. So how can you make a roster? How can you build a roster if you don't know what position you have to fill? That to me just is absurd. That is just stupid. You know, if I'm a GM, I'm knocking on that. I'm ringing I'm calling the phone. I mean, I'm picking up the phone and calling them every single day. Hey, tell me, do I gotta get a DH or not? What the hell's going on? You're taking away. You know, that's just not all right. That has to be fixed right away. And to me, and the biggest thing, I mean, all those small things that you mentioned are great, but to me, the biggest thing, and it's definitely the hardest thing to fix, guys. I spent a quarter of a century, you know, engulfed with this baseball culture. You live it, you come to understand it, and you know what? In the long run, you start to realize this baseball culture crap really sucks. Like wake up, baseball, wake up. You're old. You're boring. You need to just open your eyes and become hip again. You know, you need to accept the 21st century, the whole bat flips thing and getting pissed off when guys flip the bats. Really? Come on, are you serious? The whole. Listen, you go to Latin America and you go to to Latin America, or you go to Korea or Japan. They have cheerleaders. I'm not saying if you don't want cheerleaders, okay, you know, give it a try. It's stuff like that. But you have to find a way to solve the problem. Listen, I went to Fenway Park every single day, pretty much from the age of 13 on, and you got to Fenway, and the experience is. Sometimes you want to go where everybody knows your name. No, have some gasolina. Give me something. Wake up.
Hey, you get to see Wally every day, though.
It's gotten old. It's gotten boring. I love the game. I think the game is awesome. But the culture of not being open to accept new things. Umpires getting, you know, it's just that's what to me really is choking the life out of it.
But Uri, you mentioned, you know, like the songs played in between innings and stuff like that. That's a Boston thing. Boston doesn't do that, because I'll tell you right now, Miami is playing reggaeton every single inning, and they have bands in the crowd. They have everything else. There's not much of a crowd, but they do have those things.
I
And
guess he ain't doing much for Miami.
no, and I'll tell you, the most full I've ever seen that Marlins Park is during the World Baseball Classic, when you have like DR against Puerto Rico, DR against the United States, or PR against United States. That stadium is packed. The energy is incredible. It's like a soccer stadium atmosphere where there's just constant music and it's like a big party happening. And that's the vibe that you get in Korea, the vibe you get in Japan, the vibe you get in Latin America, where you don't get that in the States. It's very, very different. And I remember hearing this from it was Eric Hosmer, who was saying after the last World Baseball Classic, he goes, "I've played in a World Series. I've never seen crowds like that before. That's crazy." So, and I think, and that's a whole different subject for another day, is just how the general American public just looks down on the WBC. But anyways, I think, they're all very valid points. And I think there's a lot that they can do to sort of, make the game a little more hip.
One last thing, a part of the technical part of baseball that I really just am sick of it not getting fixed is I'm getting sick of just bad calls, bad strike and ball and balls called behind home plate. Listen, I get it. Umpires are human beings too, but you know what? Then don't give us the Amica strike zone if it's not going to be called the strike. You know what, guys? What's the biggest innovation that the NFL has come up with over the last 20 years? That first year first down marker. Guys, we all look for the yellow line. Well, he's got to make it to even before you understood football, you look for the yellow line because that's what that means. First down. That means the first down. That means your offense is still alive. Why can't baseball come up with a method? And I mean, I don't know why they can't, because they can. With the home plate umpire, give him some help. Don't make him look stupid. Don't put up the Amica strike zone and him going ball. You make him look stupid. Dude, give him some help.
At the same time too, I would get rid of instant replay unless it's on home runs or plays at the plate, because we shouldn't be spending 20 minutes replaying if on the second inning somebody's trying to get to first base and they think they beat the run. Just stop. It slows the game down even more. I think, okay, on home runs and plays at the plate, let's do it. But I agree with you. You have the Amica strike zone, or whoever it is sponsoring the strike zone. You have a better way to do it. Use it.
And can somebody explain balks a little better? Every balk is different, if you ask me. I'll leave that alone.
One quick question for both of you guys. Do you think Theo is going to be successful at his new job? Do you think he's the person for this position?
Dude, if you don't doubt Superman, you don't doubt Tom Brady, why are you going to doubt Theo? Dude, I mean, I can't bet against him. I mean, seriously, what he did in Boston, what he did in Chicago, I can't bet against him. I got to give Theo the benefit of the doubt. I gotta.
Yeah, he's been successful wherever he goes, so there's no reason to think he won't be. But I hope he is. Because obviously we all love baseball a lot, and we've seen it come from up here and start going down. So. But anyways, guys,
I think my blood pressure's going down now. Finally, thank you.
This leads us to the last portion of the last part of the show here, the last segment of the show. Can't speak today. The abrazo de chancletazo. We give somebody a hug or a spanking with a flip flop. Let's start with you. Who do you got this week? You got abrazo or chancletazo? What are you giving?
Since you guys criticized me last week because I was being mean to Kyrie and I gave him a big chancletazo, I got to come back to myself, be myself again. And I got to give a big congratulations y un gran abrazo a Sarah Thomas, who in a couple of weeks will make history by becoming the first woman to ever officiate a Super Bowl. The 47-year-old Thomas has been a permanent NFL official since 2015. What a great honor for Thomas accomplishing that feat. And for that, she gets a big abrazo from me, my friends.
All right. Always got a random one. Uri, what do you got?
I'm also going to give an abrazo. I'm going to give an abrazo to una compatriota mía, una panameña, my countrywoman, I guess, Jocelyn Edwards, who became the first Panamanian woman ever to step into the octagon and fight in the UFC. She made her UFC debut this past Saturday, and she defeated the Chinese fighter Wu Yanan in a unanimous decision. It was great. It was. You start thinking about what the UFC have become. I mean, Gil, you're a huge UFC fan. I mean, we all love the UFC. I love the UFC, but I think by far you have been one of the, between us three here, anyways, the guy who from the very beginning, hopped on it. When you think about the UFC right now, heck, it's probably second to soccer in the world. I mean, it's getting up there. It's one of the most popular sports in the world, if not the most popular sport, obviously behind soccer. But you know what I'm trying to say. for her to get up there, first Panamanian woman to make it to the big leagues. She made it to the major leagues of Ultimate Fighting, and debut the way she did. I got to give her a big aplauso. She made my small country of Panama very, very proud.
All right. So you got Mariano Rivera, Ruben Rivera, and no, we don't mention Ruben because of what he did. Guys, I am going to
too.
General too. Yeah, I'm gonna give a big abrazo.
Wait, what the hell? They also gave you Uri Berenguer. What the hell? What the hell? Sorry, go.
I'm going to give a big abrazo to Methuen, Massachusetts' own Calvin Cater, who this past weekend fought against Max Holloway and showed more guts than I don't know what, man. He took a beating in that fight. Unfortunately, there are levels to this thing, and Max is one of the best of all time, and he showed why he's one of the best. But Calvin Cater showed a lot of heart sticking in there till the end and taking an absolute beating and still fighting through it, still trying to go for the win, though. So that kid has a lot of heart. Big hug to him. And I want to give a big hug to the family of Baseball Hall of Famer Don Sutton, who passed away this week. Hall of Famer, 324 career wins. I remember watching the curls on the mound. Big hug to the family there. Great career as well. So.
I mean, a guy who took the ball every day. I mean, he was ready to pitch for you every day if you needed him. I actually I didn't get to see too much of him as a pitcher, but as you guys know, I am a Atlanta Braves fan. Grew up as an Atlanta Braves fan, mostly because of my uncle. I loved his broadcasts. Him broadcasting the Braves, I absolutely loved him in the broadcast. So if you allow me, I also want to join you in that hug to the Sutton family.
Yeah, he was great. He was great as a Braves announcer, which was always pretty random to me because I'm like, he never played for the Braves. How did he end up with this job? but his great career and a great career.
So Uri never played for the Red Sox.
That's right. That's right.
Or anybody. So. But anyways, guys, we reached the end of this episode of the Leches Sports Podcast. As always, you can listen to us on all of our social media pages. You can check them out there. Make sure you interact with us too on Facebook and Instagram, or Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're always having arguments and fights on there as well.
Subscribe to YouTube.
Like us on Facebook. For Uri Berenguer, Omar Cabrera, I'm Gil and Matos. Have a great week, guys. We'll see you next week. Peace out.
You just swing a bat.
Yeah, peace out.